Good morning. This is the November 8th, 2023 meeting of the Rochester Regional Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video conference call, WebEx, at the following location: Greece Town Hall, Community Room A and B, 1 Vince Toffany Boulevard, Rochester, New York, 14612. The time is 9:04, and this hearing is officially opened. The members of the board are to my far left, John Limbeck; to my immediate left, Rick Papage; to my far right, Craig Jensen; and to my immediate right, Mark Kavanaugh. My name is James Burton, and I serve as chairman of this board. Also today from the Department of State, we have regional engineers Dan Fairley and Christopher Jensen. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board, give your name, title, and legal address so that the court reporter can have all the information requested. If you're referring to exhibits such as plans, please give the court reporter some kind of context, that you're north, south, east, west, or left, right, so that they understand what you're pointing to, so that that information can be entered into the public record as well. The first hearing today is in the matter of petition number 2023-0380. The petitioner is Maurice Bostic. Sir, you are free to make your presentation.
Good morning, folks. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Super. Good morning. My name is Dan Morelli with a business address of 5159 Western Turnpike in the village of Altamont, New York. And I will be presenting for Bostich Property Management and their application for relief pertaining to New York State Multi-Residence Law Sections 30 and 31. I'm just going to step aside for a second so I can refer to my notes. I do have a drawing. I'm not sure. I forwarded it over to Barbara this morning. I'm not sure if the board's received it. I've had trouble accessing the property. I did get in there late yesterday afternoon to complete the drawing. So, Barbara, if we have that, could we post that? If not, I'm just going to wing it without the drawing.
Yep, I'll get a few. 1 second.
Thank you. So I'm going to step off for a second, and I'll just go through my criteria and tell you about the property. So the property is a pre-existing multifamily residence located at 949 Maple Avenue in the city of Schenectady, county of Schenectady, in the state of New York. It's a 3-story structure with a full basement. It currently has 12 residential dwelling units, 4 per floor, and was constructed circa 1920. Each individual dwelling unit is finished with drywall ceilings and currently has, and I did inspect this yesterday afternoon, it's a level 3 alteration and it's pretty much complete. So I did do a site visit yesterday, got some photographs that I sent to Barbara this morning of the hardwired system that's in place. Hardwired, interconnected combo smoke detector carbon monoxide units located throughout the property at common areas, basement areas, and entries to each unit. The full basement is unfinished and has no sprinkler system, but does currently have 2 interconnected hardwired code compliant devices, both smoke and carbon, as you can see on our drawing. So the basement floor is to the right of the page, or the bottom of the page. In the center is the first floor. The first floor has 2 studio apartments up towards the front of the building, a 2-bedroom apartment towards the rear right, and a single-bedroom apartment to the rear left. The second and third floors are combined at the top of the page. The only difference in floor plans is that the 2 front units are not studios, they're actually 1-bedroom apartments. The applicant is seeking relief from New York State MRL Section 30 for cellar ceilings and 31 for cellar stairs, based on the following findings of fact. The structure has been inspected yearly in recent years for compliance with New York State Building Code 2020. by the Schenectady Code Enforcement Officer for issuance of rental certificates and currently meets the requirements for interconnected hardwired combo units, both smoke and carbon throughout the entire building. Each entry door into each unit is equipped with a self-closing device, and the two doors leading to the basement, one from the rear exterior, one from the interior of the first floor, are fire-rated doors and do have self-closing devices installed already, as inspected by me yesterday. Installing a fire retardant ceiling in the unfinished common areas of the pre-existing basement or installing a sprinkler system would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden on the property owner and their tenants, simply due to the high cost of performing these tasks, as well as the numerous mechanical, electrical, and plumbing obstructions in the ceiling. The alternate measures to achieve the intended objective is the presence of interconnected hardwired code-compliant smoke and carbon detectors at the designated locations, which are currently in place. Are there any questions for me?
Good, John. Ray, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Yep, Mark Kavanaugh, just a point of clarification, just want to verify I heard you correctly. You said the door to the basement is fire rated and self-closing?
That is correct.
Okay, and then there's one door at the top of the stairs on the first floor then?
That's correct.
And then in the basement, you can't put a door at the basement portion of the stair?
Oh, we could. There's already a door at the exterior grade level towards the rear of the building that's fire rated and self-closing. We could certainly install an additional door at the opening at the basement level.
Right, yeah, I was just looking at the stair, that stair, if this is a north orientation, that north stair, right, that goes from the basement up and out, correct?
Correct.
But it doesn't, but it does also communicate up to the first and second floor, third floor.
Correct. Through a covered porch that's on the exterior of the building. It's not an enclosed porch.
Yeah, it goes directly outside. You go up that stair,
Okay.
and you're going right outside that door on the.
Yeah, but I was looking at the far left there,
Yeah.
it looks like, then there's another, that goes into that same stair, but it doesn't, then it goes out to a porch or something.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, they're separated.
okay. That's all my questions, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter? No, we already told me. Okay, hearing none, we will go off the record to deliberate and we will let you know when we're ready for a decision.
Thank you.
We're on the record.
Okay, we will now go back on the record for petition number 2023-0518. Upon the application of KMK Global Enterprises LLC, and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noticed hearing before the Rochester Regional Board of Review in person and via video conference call at Greasetown Hall, Community Rooms A and B, located at 1 Vince Toffany Boulevard, Rochester.
Hey, Jim,
Yes,
this isn't KMK. We're doing Maurice Bostic right now.
right you are. I just,
1-8 instead of
yes.
3 to 8.
Okay, let me close this one. My apologies. I got too many of these open here. Okay. Okay, we are now ready to go back on the record for petition number 2023-0380. Upon the application of Maurice Bostic and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noticed hearing before the Rochester Regional Board of Review, held in person and via video conference call at Greasetown Hall, Community Rooms A and B, 1 Vince Toffany Boulevard, Rochester, New York, on November 8th, 2003, and upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. This petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy 3 stories in height of type 5B wood frame unprotected construction located at 949 Maple Avenue in the city of Schenectady, county of Schenectady, state of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, titled Cellar Ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief from the requirements that a fire retarded ceiling or sprinkler system shall be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. Relief is also being sought from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31, titled Inside Cellar Stairs, which states that every stair leading from the cellar to the floor above in all old multiple dwellings shall be enclosed with fire-retarded partitions and shall be equipped with a fire-retarded self-closing door located as the department may approve. The petitioner requests relief not to provide a fire-rated partition in the cellar stairs. Findings of fact. Number 1, the building that is the subject of this petition is properly classified under Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 4, parentheses 33, as a multiple dwelling. Number 2, the subject building is approximately 6,645 square feet in gross area and was originally constructed in 1920. Number 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, in that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law requires in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Number 5, the lowest story cellar ceiling of this multiple family dwelling is not enclosed with fire retardant material and does not contain a sprinkler system. A fire in the cellar could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which would make installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 6, as an alternative to compliance with Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law, the applicant has installed a hardwired interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detection alarm system interconnected from the basement to each unit individually that would provide early warning in the event of a fire-related emergency. Number 7, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31 requires that stairs leading from a cellar to the floor above be enclosed with fire-retarded partitions and equipped with a fire-retarded self-closing door. The stairway that leads to the basement is not enclosed in fire-rated construction. Number 8, there are 2 doors leading into the basement, both of which are fire-rated and self-closing. Number 9, the code enforcement official for the city of Schenectady was not present during the hearing, but has communicated his support for the granting of the requested variance. Any other findings from the board?
No.
Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Sections 30 and 31, be and are hereby granted with the following conditions. Yeah, I put that at the end, but that's fine. Okay. The board finds that the proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provisions for health, safety, and security, and that strict compliance would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without a loss in the level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the code. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Sections 30 and 31, be and are hereby granted with the following conditions. Number one, that the interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detection alarm system that has been installed throughout the building is verified to be compliant with the current code. Number two, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code-certified inspection agency to test the alarm system not less than once every year and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports for the fire and smoke and carbon monoxide system shall also be left on site, readily available for inspection. Number two, that all alarms are interconnected together in conformance with NFPA 72. Number three, that any entrance door and every door opening into an entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connected therewith shall be self-closing. And number four, that a fire-rated self-closing door be installed at the bottom of the basement stair. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Limbeck. Okay, we'll now poll the board. Mr. Limbeck? Mr. Pavich?
Aye.
Mr. Jensen?
Aye.
Mr. Kavanaugh?
Aye.
And I will vote aye, so the record should reflect that this matter was passed by a vote of 5-0. Furthermore, this decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. This matter is now closed. We are now ready to hear petition number 2023-0518. Sir, you are ready to proceed.
Are we moving on to the third or the second?
We're moving on to what we have listed as the second. It's petition 0518.
0518, okay. Give me 1 second. I
Yeah.
didn't mention earlier, I'm doing
617 Bluff Avenue.
Bluff Avenue, okay. Let me just switch my paperwork here. I didn't mention to the board earlier, I'm doing the first three presentations. So I was set up for the second one. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, we have the second one as the agenda for Cambrian Apartments.
Oh,
045.
okay.
He's
What,
ready for four.
what would your preference be?
I'm all set up for Cambrian, so and Mr. Boxer is on the video with us, and he's the owner of the property, so I would prefer to do that one first.
Okay, let me just pull that up, please. 457. Okay,
All right, I actually do have a hard copy drawing behind me, which I'm going to focus the screen on, and I'll step to the side. And I do believe Barbara did get a hard copy drawing and most likely forwarded it to the board. So let me get this up on the screen. Okay, once again, my name is Dan Morelli with Morelli Design and Construction, with a physical address at 5159 Western Turnpike in the village of Altamont, state of New York, 12009. I'm presenting for Cambrian Apartments LLC in their application for variance for relief pertaining to New York State Multi-Residence Law, Section 30 and Section 31. The pre-existing multifamily residence located at 1057, 1059 Gillespie Street in the city of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, state of New York, is a 3-story structure with a full basement and currently has 6 residential dwelling units with 2 per floor. The building was constructed circa 1900 and is very unique in the sense that it has 2 physical addresses, 1057 being on the left, 1059 being on the right, and there's a firewall that runs from the basement. It's a masonry firewall that runs from the basement right up through to the underside of the roof to separate the 2 addresses. In essence, creating 2 halves. Each individual dwelling unit is finished with drywall ceilings and currently have 10-year lithium battery smoke and carbon detectors throughout. The current devices will be swapped out for interconnected, hardwired, code-compliant smoke and carbon monoxide detectors at designated locations. And I did walk through the property with the property owner this past weekend, and we did spot those locations as we did also on our drawing, which we will issue to the property owner. All the dwelling units have code-compliant means of egress with self-closing devices on entry doors to the front of the building, the foyer entrance, the basement stairs, which are fire-rated doors, in each apartment unit. On the second and third levels, there's fire escapes leading through the back of the building for a second means of egress. And on the first floor, the second means of egress is right out the back doors onto the grade level. The applicant is seeking relief from MRL Section 30 for cellar ceilings and Section 31 for cellar stairs based on the following findings of fact. The structure has been inspected yearly in recent years for compliance with the 2020 New York State Building Code by the City of Schenectady Code Enforcement Officer for issuance of rental certificates, and currently met requirements for battery operated smoke and carbon detectors, which will be swapped out with interconnected code compliant hardwired devices within the next several months. All doors entering common areas and apartment units have self-closing devices. I witnessed that upon the inspection, and the doors to the basement are currently fire rated with self-closing devices. The ultimate measures to achieve the intended objective is the presence of interconnected hardwired code compliant devices at designated locations, and the applicant is seeking relief from the board. Are there any questions for me?
Mr. Burton, you're muted.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute there. Sir, on the basement plan, there's an opening in the firewall. Can you describe that condition, please?
Yes, it's an unfinished opening that passes from one section of the partially finished basement to the unfinished side.
Okay, so just for the record, the statement that you made earlier that a firewall exists separating the building in two all the way up through the roof would not be accurate.
You are correct, and I did misspeak on that. I do apologize. I meant to bring that up, and I did not.
Okay, and should the board find this to be important, would your client be willing to install a self-closing fire-rated door at that opening?
I believe he would be. I don't see any issues with him not willing to do that.
And lastly, this is a CMU wall,
Correct.
approximate thickness of the concrete masonry units is
2 feet.
2 feet. Okay. So we don't want to get too carried away. Would it be safe to say that this would be a 2-hour?
Very safe to say
Firewall?
yes. Yes, it would be.
Okay. So a 90-minute opening protective would be appropriate at that location?
I would agree with that.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other board members have questions?
I do. Mark Kavanaugh, the question on the partially finished basement. Can you describe what that means? What's down there that makes it finished?
Yes, so on the left side of the building or under 1057, the ceiling has been fairly plastered, probably about 90 to 98% complete. It's been in place for years, and that's where the heating systems are on that side of the building. That's what we're constituting as partially finished. It's all masonry walls, concrete floor. On the unfinished side, it's exactly what it is. It's exposed framing up above the floor system.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure it wasn't like a rec room or something that was in that partially
No,
finished side.
no, it's just that the ceilings have been plastered.
Okay, and the second question I have is on the stairwells that are in the basement area. Why can't we run drywall around those stairs?
There's drywall there now. It's just not fire rated drywall.
Okay, and can we, is it possible to put a door also at the bottom of those stairs that would open into the room?
On the left side under 1057, I believe that is possible. On the right side, I'm not 100% certain that we could do that based on the layout and the configuration of the way it finishes down there. It's an open stairwell, basically. On the other side, it's closed, but on the right side, it's an open stairwell.
So on the right side, it looks like it's, two walls that butt up to the firewall there. And we can't, you don't have access on the occupied side, the unfinished side, to do two layers of drywall?
We could actually, I'm sorry to interrupt. We could actually probably do that now that you mention it.
Okay, all right. And the same with on the left side.
Just add
The left
another
side-
layer.
The left side has drywall already?
Yes, it does have
It's just-
drywall.
It's just not 5/8 Dypex rated on both sides, but,
Correct.
okay, thank you.
This is Craig Jensen. Just one question. You mentioned that the heating system is all on one basement side. So what's passing through the firewall to supply heat to the other side? Or, describe the condition of getting the system, to serve the other side of the building.
So they're boilers and the pipework comes up and runs through the wall and it's fire sealed at the penetrations.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter? Okay, hearing none, we will now go off the record to deliberate, and we'll let you know when we're ready to read our decision.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we are ready to go back on the record in petition number 2023-0457. Upon the application of Cambrian Apartments LLC and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Rochester Regional Board of Review held in person and via video conference call at Greasetown Hall, Community Rooms A and B, 1 Vince Toffany Boulevard, Rochester, New York, on November 8th, 2023, and upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. This petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, of type 5B wood frame unprotected construction located at 1057-1059 Gillespie Street in the city of Schenectady, county of Schenectady, state of New York. Relief is being requested from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, titled Cellar Ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief from the requirement that a fire retarded ceiling or sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. And from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31, titled Inside Cellar Stairs, which states that every stair leading from the cellar to the floor above in all old multiple dwellings shall be enclosed with fire-retarded partitions and shall be equipped with a fire-retarded self-closing door located as the department may approve. The petitioner requests relief to not provide a fire-rated partition in the cellar stairs. Findings of fact. Number 1, the building that is the subject of this petition is properly classified under Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 4, parentheses 33, as a multiple dwelling. Number 2, the subject building is approximately 5,800 square feet in gross area and was originally constructed in 1900. Number 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, in that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law requires in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Number 5, the lowest story, the cellar ceiling of this multiple family dwelling is not enclosed with fire retarded material and does not contain a sprinkler system. A fire in the cellar could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which would make installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 6, as an alternative to compliance with Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law, the applicant will install a hardwired smoke and carbon monoxide detection alarm system interconnected from the basement to each unit individually to provide early warning in the event of a fire-related emergency. Number 7, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31 requires that stairs leading from the cellar to the floor above be enclosed with fire-retardant partitions and equipped with a fire-retarded self-closing door. The stairway that leads to the basements are not enclosed in fire-rated construction. Number 8, the doors into the basement are fire-rated and self-closing. Number 9, the code enforcement official for the city of Schenectady was not present during the hearing, but has communicated his support for the granting of the requested variances. Any other findings from the board?
No.
The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provisions for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without a loss in the level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the code. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Sections 30 and 31, be and are hereby granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that the proposed interconnected hardwired smoke and carbon monoxide detection system be installed and located throughout the building as required by current code in accordance with NFPA 72. Number 2, that the property owner shall have a qualified person or firm perform a formal test of the interconnected alarm system upon installation to ensure all alarms are properly communicating installed, and then every year thereafter. Number 3, that the inspection report be submitted to the code enforcement official and that a copy of the inspection report be readily available on site. Number 4, that any entrance door and every door opening into an entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connected therewith shall be self-closing. Number 5, that the existing basement stairways be reconfigured to permit the installation of doors at the bottom of the stairwells, that such doors be fire rated and self-closing, and that the cellar side of the stairways be covered with a fire retardant material to the satisfaction of the code enforcement official. And number 6, that the opening in the existing firewall at the basement level be protected with a 90-minute self-closing door. Any other conditions from the board? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Limbeck. Second?
Second, Rick Peppich.
Okay. Mr. Jensen,
Aye.
Mr. Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Mr. Pappich,
Aye.
Mr. Limbeck. And I will vote aye, so the record should reflect that this matter was granted by a vote of 5-0. And also note that this decision is limited to the specific building and application before it is contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specific specifications presented in support of this application. This matter is now closed. Sir, are you prepared to jump right into the next case? I think your mic is muted.
Sorry, guys, and ladies. Thank you for the last petition, and also I am ready to go.
Okay. At this time, we will open the hearing in the matter of petition number 2023-0518. Please proceed.
Okay, once again, my name is Dan Morelli, Morelli Design and Construction, with a physical address at 5159 Western Turnpike, Altamont, New York, 12009. I will be presenting for Mr. Cameron Ashani and his request for relief from sections 30 and 31 of the MRL. I do have a drawing board behind me that I'd like to display, and I'm going to go off screen while I display that. I did forward a hard copy of this electronically to Barbara, so I'm assuming everybody has a copy of that.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the pre-existing multifamily residence located at 617 Bluff Avenue in the city and county of Schenectady, state of New York, is a 3-story structure with a full basement. Currently has 3 residential living units, 1 per floor, and it was constructed circa 1900. Each individual dwelling unit is finished with drywall ceilings and currently has 10-year battery-operated smoke and carbon detectors throughout, which will be completely removed from the premises and replaced with interconnected wireless code compliant and carbon monoxide detectors at designated locations. I did inspect the property this past weekend with the property owner, physically showed the property owner the drawing and where we need to put the systems. One of the reasons he wants to go with wireless is because he's in the process of selling the building, and the basement utility room already has a 1-hour fire enclosure with self-closing fire-rated doors on it. So instead of running the hardwired system, he just assumed put the wireless interconnected system throughout. Fully aware the inspections required to do that system. The full basement is unfinished and has no sprinkler system and currently has 2 10-year lithium battery smoke detectors in the basement, again, which will be completely removed and replaced with interconnected wireless code compliant systems. The property owner agrees to hire an independent inspection agency to inspect the wireless system and file an on-site report as required. The applicant is seeking relief from MRL sections 30 and 31 based on the following findings of fact. The structure has been inspected yearly in recent years for compliance with the 2020 New York State Building Code by the code enforcement officer and had been compliant. Installing a fire retardant ceiling in the basement in the unfinished common areas of the pre-existing basement or installing a sprinkler system would create an excessive and unreasonable economic burden on the property owner and their tenants simply due to the high cost of performing these tasks as well, excuse me, as well as the numerous mechanical, electrical, plumbing obstructions in the ceiling. The alternate measure to achieve the intended objective is the presence of interconnected wireless code compliant smoke and carbon monoxide detectors that meet the UL design requirement at the designated locations with regular inspections. Are there any questions for me?
Yes, for starters, do you have any financial information to share with this board to support the owner's position that conforming with the requirements of the law would create an economic hardship?
So he did get that information and did not forward that to me prior to this meeting, but he does have the information. I did not get what that information was from him. I just know that he has it.
Okay, so just for the record, we cannot consider economic hardship without supporting documentation. So we'll stick with the proposed grounds for alternatives. So my second question is, it appears from your drawing here that the basement stairwell is in an enclosed space. Can you describe the condition of that partition?
Yes, it's basically concrete foundation walls that surround the stairwell as you ascend into the basement.
So the wall that separates the unfinished basement from the stairwell underneath the enclosed porch is comprised of what?
Masonry.
That's a masonry wall. So that would be a fire retardant enclosure.
Around the stairwell, correct.
Okay, so you would be okay then if we modify your petition as you no longer appear to need relief from that section of the multiple residence law?
Well, the only issue I have is as you get to the upper level enclosed porch, it's wood framed at the upper level floor, and the door itself is not fire rated or self-closing.
So your drawing suggests that it is fire rated.
The one on the top of the basement stair.
The one on the first floor is not leading into the basement. The one at the basement level is fire retardant.
This one. Okay. And is there any reason why you can't replace that door with a fire-rated door?
At the upper level, first floor,
Yes.
we certainly could do that.
Okay. Yeah. So that would be this door
Correct. But what's this wall? Is this carrying
and
this?
this.
This is masonry.
Yeah.
Is this masonry throughout or is this wood frame then?
Yeah. So the, on the first floor level, the composition of the wall that separates the enclosed porch from the first floor dwelling unit is comprised of what?
Wood framing.
Wood framing. Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for this applicant? Is there anybody else that wishes to speak on this matter? Hearing none, we will go off the record and deliberate this matter and let you know when we're done with our decision.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we are now ready to go back on the record in the matter of petition number 2023-0518. Upon the application of KMK Global Enterprises LLC, and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noticed hearing before the Rochester Regional Board of Review in person and via video conference at Greasetown Hall, Community Rooms A and B, located at 1 Vince Toffany Boulevard, Rochester, New York, on November 8th, 2023, and upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. This petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, of type 5B, wood frame unprotected construction located at 617 Bluff Avenue in the city of Schenectady, county of Schenectady, state of New York. Relief is hereby requested from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, titled Cellar Ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar, or of the lowest story if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded and or be equipped with a sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief from the requirements that a fire retarded ceiling or sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. And from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31, titled Inside Cellar Stairs, which states that every stair leading from the cellar to the floor above in all old multiple dwellings shall be enclosed with fire-retarded partitions and shall be equipped with a fire-retarded self-closing door located as the department may approve. The petitioner requests relief to not provide a fire-rated partition in the cellar stairs. Findings of fact. Number 1, the building that is the subject of this petition is properly classified under Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 4, parentheses 33, as a multiple dwelling. Number 2, the subject building is approximately 3,528 square feet in gross area and was originally constructed in 1920. Number 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, in that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law requires in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or of the lowest story if there be no cellar shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Number 5, the lowest story The cellar ceiling of this multiple family dwelling is not enclosed with fire retardant material and does not contain a sprinkler system. A fire in the cellar could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which would make installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 6, as an alternative to compliance with Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law, the applicant has agreed to install a code compliant wireless interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detection alarm system interconnected from the basement to each individual dwelling unit to provide early warning in the event of a fire-related emergency. Number 7, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 31 requires that a stairs leading from a cellar to the floor above be enclosed with fire-retarded partitions and equipped with a fire-retarded self-closing door. The stairway that leads to the basement is separated from the basement with a masonry wall and protected with a self-closing fire-rated door. The board finds that these conditions of the stairwell enclosure constitute a change so slight as to produce a negligible additional benefit. Number 8, the code enforcement official for the city of Schenectady was not present during the hearing, but has communicated his support for the granting of the requested variance. Are there any other findings?
No.
Okay, hearing none. The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provisions for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without a loss in the level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the law and or constitute a change so slight as to produce an additional benefit. Wherefore, it is determined that the application for a variance from Chapter 61-B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Sections 30 and 31, be and are hereby granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that the proposed wireless interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide alarm system be provided and located throughout the building as required by current code in accordance with NFPA 72. Number 2, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code-certified inspection agency to test the alarm system not less than once every year and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on site and be readily available for inspection. Number 3, that any entrance door and every door opening into any entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connected therewith shall be self-closing. And number 4, that the head of wall condition at the masonry wall separating the cellar from the cellar stair be draft stopped, fire stopped, or otherwise sealed to prevent the passage of smoke and hot gases. Any other conditions from the board? Okay, do I have
And
a
I'm
motion?
sorry, could you repeat that last condition, please?
Sure. That the head of wall condition at the masonry wall separating the cellar from the cellar stair be draft stopped, fire stopped, or otherwise sealed to prevent the passage of smoke and hot gases.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Rick Pappage, motion.
Second?
Sure, I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Jensen. Mr. Limbeck. Mr. Pappage.
Aye.
Mr. Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Mr. Jensen?
Aye.
And I will vote aye, so the record should reflect that this matter was passed by a vote of 5-0. And it should be noted that this decision is limited to the specific building and application before it is contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. And with that, this matter is closed.
Thank you, folks. Have a great day.
You too.
See you next time.
So we're going to go off the record now to discuss some procedural elements with the board. We are ready to go back on the record.
We're on the record.
Okay. At this time, the board is going to hear the matter of petition number 2023-0546. I am going to recuse myself from this hearing, and Mr. Pappage will serve as chair of this board.
Okay, so as stated, this hearing is in the matter of petition 2023-0546. The petitioner is Bureau Architecture. I would like to ask them to come forward and present. Yes, and when you do present, please state your name for the record, including your address.
Richard Osgood with Barrow Architecture, 32 Winthrop Street, Rochester.
Jennifer Ahrens from Barrow Architecture, 32 Winthrop Street, Rochester, 14607.
Good morning, and thank you for this chance to present, and especially to Dan and Chris for helping us navigate the application submission. We're here to talk about a very unique building from Rochester's past that we hope to reconstruct in a new manner. It is the Highland Park Children's Pavilion, located at the highest point of Highland Park, which is famously part of Frederick Law Olmsted's landscape design. It was built originally in 1890. It lasted 71 years and into 1961, and then was torn down in 63. Barrow's involvement with this project dates back approximately 22 years, where we began a feasibility study with the interested parties at that time, just as the new IBC code was starting to come on board. And so we were re-engaged in it with Monroe County late last year, early this year, as the funding had been put in place to make this building happen again. Our design is, of course, rebuilding it in a manner that's as close as possible to the original intent that Olmsted anticipated and asked for from his Boston architecture firm, and that was Shepley Rutan Coolidge at the time. Of course, we have to navigate all the nuances of a new building and the new code. We do have some challenges that we need to present to you in regards to our variance requests for essentially 4 items. First is based on the occupant load calculations and the number of people in this assembly building. We have a stair width issue. We also, our intention of this design is to, while not replicate, but provide a monumental open stair that was very complementary to the original style of the pavilion, albeit with a new elevator inserted into one side flight of the stair so that we have accessibility to all floor levels. That being said, it is still, while a two-flight stair at some portion, it transitions to a landing and a single-flight stair, and it is one means of egress out of the upper floor levels. And that's our other topics for this board and discussion today is seeking relief so that we can provide a stair, a monumental open stair in harmony with the original intent of the building while still meeting current code. So the stair presented does have the proper rise, run, guardrail height, intermediate rails, and such. One of the other issues obviously is if two exits are required based on the occupant load, the distance separation between those two exits, we only have the one stair. And then whether or not it's actually enclosed. There is potential relief as an open air assembly seating space that might give us some different calculations on the width of that staircase and whether it can be an open stair. Some of the other items that are proposed in our design will include a new 20-foot wide access drive for fire trucks up from Reservoir Road to the pavilion. There's currently a 10-foot wide drive there now. Historically, they had a drive up to the pavilion as well as the circular drive around it. And we would also are proposing a 26-foot wide circular access road around the perimeter of the pavilion. Part of our discussions over the last couple of months and most recently just a couple of weeks ago with the city of Rochester's water board, there is a nearby fire hydrant approximately 185 feet away from the closest point to the pavilion. But that discussion with the Water Bureau was seemingly promising in that they would allow us to tap off a slightly different line nearby, but then relocate the fire hydrant closer to the pavilion. And we have not determined exactly the ideal location, but it would be somewhere up near the flat portion of the hill where the pavilion resides or would reside. And then our other adjustment to the design was the elevator, as I mentioned before, and we've designed this elevator to be a stretcher compliant elevator, though it's below the 4 stories in height where that requirement would normally kick in. That's the gist of our concerns and items to discuss.
All right. I think at this time, I'd like to ask the county's code enforcement official to speak. Please give your name and address.
My name is Kyle Rader, Code Enforcement Officer with Monroe County, 50 West Main Street, Rochester, New York. Is there anything specific you were looking to hear?
Just your opinions of the petition and your ideas following your review.
Yeah, so following my review, I did come up with these 4 topics to bring to the board today. I am in favor of the board hearing this. Obviously, I put that in my questionnaire. So all being means of egress issues, I thought it was important that the board did hear that and not be an administrative heard petition. So I've been told that as far as the enclosed stairway that the state specific Chris Jensen might offer an opinion letter stating that it would be allowed to be open based on the open air assembly seating, so that if we do receive that, I would be comfortable removing that from the petition if we did get the letter from the state. Okay. So then I guess it would just be for the sizing, number of exits, and the exit configuration that Barrow and Monroe County are looking for relief from.
Yeah, any questions from the board? So,
Yeah, and on that, just speaking to those remaining sections that you'd be moving forward, do you have any specific thoughts to those?
Nothing, nothing specific. The way I see it is, I brought up these issues and moved it forward to bring it to this board. So I am open to any position that the board takes on these matters.
Very good, thank you. Now, anybody else here in the room itself or on virtual here have any questions on this?
it is to be used as it historically was. So it'll be open during the park hours. It'll be a viewing platform, multi-level viewing platform. Beyond that, we don't know how the county might use it. It's still in talks. But Mark Kavanaugh from the board, but the county could potentially use it for functions, weddings, and different types of activities where they might have a large volume of people there. I don't know that they consider it like a lodge, like they would on in another park. And I don't.
Yes, I was going to say, we've been meeting with the Parks Department as well as the project manager from Carla Grace, who's online and may have some thoughts on this too. But they talked about it being a resource, especially during the Lilac Festival, but there was no real intention to use it as a rental facility. Yes, security's a concern, vandalism and those sort of things. So like Richard said, it would be just accessible during the park hours. The road, the 20-foot road we were talking about up to the pavilion would be blocked off with just like a knockbox entry for the fire department. We did meet with Brian Anton from the fire department, and who was the other gentleman? He was a fire marshal for the city of Rochester's fire department. And a lot of their concerns at the time were mostly about the road. And we will have a 26-foot paved road at the pinnacle of the hill that surrounds the pavilion itself. And that was probably their largest concern. They did have a concern on the number of occupant loads. And in using that open air assembly seating, when we redid the calculation with the less number, it appears we can get below and get into compliance with that one. But Carla, if you're on, if you have any comments about use for Monroe County?
Hello, this is Carla Grace, Monroe County DES. Um, Pertaining to all the conversations we've had to the Parks Department to date, there is absolutely no vision or desire to rent out this facility. This is just, as Richard had mentioned, going back to the original intent of it being an open air pavilion for people to view the views, specifically east, west, and south of the pavilion. And ultimately, nothing more than that.
All right, another question I had, not pertaining to that, but that's off topic, is that, yep, sorry, Mark Havenoff from the board, is that you are in compliant with then travel distances and common path of travel? Am I interpreting your code review correctly?
This is Richard Osgood. Yes, we believe that's correct.
Craig Jensen from the board, couple of questions. So the occupancy numbers that are stated here, do you know what that is on what the square foot basis for that determination was? Is it, so you say 497 occupants on the one floor and 370 on the other floor. What's the square foot per occupant number that you're using for that? Do you know?
5 standing.
Five. Okay. You're using
Yes.
5. Okay. And then in the booklet, you mentioned that you had developed an alternative scheme that wasn't deemed desirable, that separated this into 2 exits with this elevator in the center, I guess. Do you have that? I'm just curious. Maybe it's in here and I missed it?
No, it could be. The booklet you mean is our feasibility study from 2001.
Right, so in that it mentions there was an alternative layout with the elevator in the center that provided for 2 exits, and I don't know, I don't think it's in here. But
It didn't make the cut in the final,
Didn't make the cut.
the final printing of
to
it.
look to see what that configuration actually
Certainly.
looked like.
It gets discussed in the feasibility study as
Understood.
an option, but it gets dismissed as an option because
Okay.
the center elevator shaft
I could see the issues with it, I just didn't know if it was.
changes the
available.
views of and the feeling of the upper floor levels.
Okay.
So,
So it's not available to see it, we can't see that, okay.
Mark Kavanaugh, again, I'm trying to understand, the reason why we can't get a second means of egress. So is it because of architectural desires, or is it, could you help me understand a new building can't have a second means of egress and why?
Yes, Jennifer Aaron's Bureau Architecture. So we're starting from the point where we're following the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation in the reconstruction of this. It is going to be reviewed with the State Historic Preservation Office because the park itself is a historic resource. And this pavilion structure, the building of it is going to have an impact on the historic resource of Highland Park. So we started it with the county in the intention, always from the beginning, was to get as close to the intention of Olmsted's design as possible, both in the intention of use of the pavilion and in the shape and the form and the design of. So that's where we have started and where we're putting forward, looking for relief as it's really a structure in a park that is is open and wanting to negotiate with you for, here's how we see some increased safety parts that and the county is obviously is very, feels that public safety is very important. So that is not the intention to limit public safety, but to do it, to sort of approach this in a mindful way. Do you have anything to say?
Again, yeah, Richard Osgood again. Mark, to your point, we could design a 2-exit scenario, and we wouldn't even be here, right, for this hearing. The intention and the review by SHPO back at the start of this feasibility study was that version that Craig had asked earlier about was detrimental to the overall design, original design intent and the feel of this building. So we're trying to thread the needle, if you will, create a monumental stair that harkens back to the original, but do it in a modern way so that people can still get a sense of what it was by Olmsted's original vision and his architecture firm's design.
Okay, Craig Jensen with the board again, another question. So back to the occupancies, if you do a backward calculation, and again, maybe it's in here somewhere, what is the capacity that the exit capacity the stair actually provides? You say you don't have enough capacity, you'd need however many inches to make it work, but how many occupants can you accommodate by code based on the width that you've got?
It is backwards math.
Right, yeah.
It is Richard Osgood again, appreciate it. So you're looking at our code study sheet CS10? So if I may point you to the 2nd level plan or the 3rd level plan. And at the bottom of that plan, we have our egress stair symbol, a box.
Sorry, my apologies, there you go.
So that's the calculation. On top is our current design width of the staircase, 68 inches wide.
Right, so if we took the 68 inches wide and we did a backward calculation, 266, 226 would be the number that you're
Correct.
applying up to, right?
Right. In our version, we calculate that out as 150 inches is what's required, the
Right,
bottom
yeah.
number.
I was just trying to go the reverse to
No,
say,
I-
okay, 260 or 226, how reasonable a number is that, right? So-
There was also the discussion of looking at potentially a different, this is Jennifer Ahrens from Bureau Architecture. There was also the discussion, do we look at a different way to calculate, as you mentioned before, the less restrictive standing, or go from standing to another. And again, this is as Richard said, trying to thread the needle that we're starting with the original intention and kind of looking for the relief.
Mark Kavanaugh, just one quick last question is typically we have, for the record, some document from SHPO. Do we have anything from them indicating, other than what's in your report? Do we have anything that could be presented as part of evidence of SHPO's?
This is Richard Osgood with Barrow. As of now, we just have that SHPO analysis from the feasibility study.
Okay. That's all the question I have, Chairman.
Any other questions from?
I got one more question, which maybe is, I just noticed it now, so I'm just going to toss it out there. There's a note on your drawing that says 36-inch high handrail. Are your handrails really 36 inches high?
This is Richard Osgood. Barrow, you're looking at the ground level plan?
Oh, maybe I am. Oh,
number one on the
Yeah,
sheet.
so up, when you get above, you're at 42 inches.
Number,
down.
all right, plan second level
All
and
right,
third
so on the
level are
notes, like, that
42.
seems surprising. So, okay, my apologies.
No worries. This is Richard Osgood with Barrow. John, I think we're maxed right there. Because of the structure of the posts that, the ring of posts that go around the building are limiting us.
Kyle Rader, Monroe County Code Enforcement. So this structure would be on top of Highland Park near the reservoir, very, very close to the reservoir. They hold the concerts and stuff on the other side of Highland. So you go down the hill, you cross Highland Avenue, and that's where the concerts are. So quite a distance away.
Mr. Limbeck, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you.
Thank you. I had a deficient microphone, it looks like. My question was, in the brochure that we got from Barrow, they quote Bill Richardson as a regional engineer with the state. And looking at this as a historically significant design with the stairs that they've got, my question to Kyle was, do you envision that you would ever get a situation where you'd have almost 500 people on the second floor and almost 400 people on the third floor in the normal course of events at the park? And looking at that in conjunction with the other features that they're proposing, the 20-foot wide road coming up to the facility, the 26-foot wide fire access around the facility, I just don't envision that you would have that many people in this structure at one time. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on that, if you look at that with the narrower stairs that they're proposing.
Yeah, my thought has been, since this was brought to me, that it's not likely we're going to meet the almost 1,500, 1,421 total occupant load. Maybe getting around the Lilac Festival time, but I mean, that would be a good chunk of people climbing up that hill to get there. So I just don't see it as being an issue where it's going to be packed to maximum capacity.
Okay, John Limbeck, and I just, I'm trying to get your feeling for this, as to, actual functionality of the building. I'm looking at it and saying, okay, we've got, better fire access, better ambulance access, and I agree, I don't ever see this being, maxed out at any one time.
Yeah, the only time, Kyle Rader, County Code Enforcement, the only time that I would envision a a larger number of people. Definitely not as large as the occupant load, but more than a regular, weekend would be the Lilac Festival. That's the one main big attraction in the park per year,
Okay.
so.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all I have, Chairman.
I have a question, Rick Papich, Board. The road we've been mentioning, is there any plans for parking on that road? Or any parking plans up on or at the facility?
There aren't, this is Richard Osgood with Barrow Architecture. There are not any plans for specific public parking on the drive or the circle around the pavilion. We're in discussion to redefine 2 to 3 parking spaces that are off of Reservoir Avenue and adjacent to the chlorination building there. But that's the extent. Parking is, it's a premium in Highland Park, but we don't have plans to develop specific lots for spaces.
Yeah, I can actually add to that. The county feels, Jennifer Ahrens from Bureau Architecture, the county is concerned about having any public access up to there, that it would only be for maintenance vehicles and the fire department at that time, that it would be required for that.
Vehicular.
Yeah, vehicular. Mhm.
John Limbeck, if that's the case, could they put a gate at that road that, the vehicle, the county maintenance workers would have a key and obviously the emergency personnel, but because we've all been in parks and we know how people respect, what they intend for parking. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like that, whatever road's leading up to it.
Certainly. Richard Osgood with Barrow. That is part of our design intent, John, is we'll have a gate system very close to the intersection of Reservoir and the drive going up. That'll be controlled by the county and the fire department, and that's it. Because we all know once a gate is open, any car and every car will end up trying to get up there.
Rick Papich, Board. So that means that gate would be closed pretty much all times, and then only accessed by the key that the county would have in the fire. Very good.
Kyle Rader, Monroe County Code Enforcement. I will add the City Water Bureau will also have access. They have the pump house right there, so, and they are on board with gating that off because people are parking in front of their pump house and their chlorination building, so.
Okay, Rick Papich, Board. Any other questions from out there in the audience or virtual? If not, then we'll call this part of the hearing closed and we'll now go into deliberation. Thank you. Good.
Record.
Okay, Rick Papich, Acting Board Chair. We have the petition 2023-0546 upon the application of Barrow Architecture and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noticed hearing before the Rochester Regional Board of Review. This hearing was held in person and via teleconference call at the following location at the Greastown Hall, Community Rooms A and B, 1 Vince Toffney Boulevard, Rochester, New York, on November 8th, 2023. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. The petition pertains to the construction of an open-air pavilion, assembly occupancy group A5, assembly viewing of outdoor activities, of construction type 5B, wood-framed, unprotected, 3 stories in height, 8,204 square feet in gross floor area, known as the Highland Park Children's Pavilion, located at 180 Reservoir Avenue, City of Rochester, Monroe County, State of New York. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1221, the Building Code of New York State, Section 1005-3, which reads that the capacity of means of egress stairways shall be calculated by multiplying the occupant load served by such stairways by a means of egress capacity factor of 0.3 inches per occupant. The proposed second level occupant load of 497 requires a 150-inch stair width. Proposed third floor occupancy load of 370 requires a 111-inch stair width. Stair widths are proposed at 68 inches. Second, 19 NYCRR Part 1221, the Building Code of New York State, Section 1006.3, which reads that each story and shall have the minimum number of separate and distinct exits or access to exits as specified in Table 1006.3.2. Proposed structure provides a single egress exit path when code requires a minimum of 2 separate and distinct exits. A third, 19 NYCRR Part 1221, the Building Code of New York State, Section 1007-1, which reads that where 2 exits are required from any portion of the exit access, they shall be placed a distance apart equal to no less than half of the length of the maximum overall diagonal dimension of the building or area to be served, measured in a straight line between them. The proposed structure provides a single exit when code requires a minimum of 2 separate and distinct exits. Fourth, 19 NYCRR Part 1221, the Building Code of New York State, Section 1019.3, which reads that floor openings containing exit access stairways shall be enclosed with a shaft enclosure. The proposed structure provides an open-air monumental stair when code requires that the stairway be enclosed. Now, the board has determined that relief from this is not necessary, as New York State Building Code Section 1019.3, Item 7 allows for open-air assembly structures to have unenclosed stairs. In accordance to Part 5 of the application for variance, the petitioner proposes to argue that strict adherence to the provisions of 2020 Building Code of New York State, which entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would not achieve an intended objective and would be unnecessary in light of alternatives without a loss of level of safety and achieve the intended objective of the code. And this would be done by adding a fire hydrant closer to the structure. Finding of facts. Number 1, the subject petition pertains to the requirement to have 2 enclosed, code width compliant, separate and distinct exits from all floors of a future open air pavilion, assembly occupancy group A5, assembly - viewing of outdoor activities, of the construction type 5B wood frame unprotected, 3 stories in height, 8,204 square feet in gross floor area, known as the Highland Park Children's Pavilion, located at 180 Reservoir Avenue, City of Rochester, Monroe County, State of New York. Number 2, the petitioner details that the intention of this project is to construct an architecturally significant structure keeping with the original design while providing additional measures to ensure life safety provide handicap accessibility, increase the longevity of the structure, and reduce the frequency and cost of ongoing maintenance. Number 3, petitioner is seeking relief from the requirement of the 2020 Building Code of New York, Section 1005.3, which reads that the capacity of means of egress stairways shall be calculated by multiplying the occupant load served by such stairways by a means of egress capacity factor of 0.3 inch per occupant. Proposed second level occupant load of 497 requires a 150 inch stair width. Proposed third level occupant load of 370 requires a 111 inch stair width. Stair widths are being proposed at 68 inches. Number 4, petitioner is seeking relief from the requirement of the 2020 Building Code of New York State, Section 1006.3, which reads that each story and shall have the minimum number of separate and distinct exits or access to exits as specified in Table 1006.3.2. Proposed structure provides a single egress exit path when code requires a minimum of 2 separate and distinct exits. Number 5, petitioner is seeking relief from the requirement of the 2020 Building Code of New York State, Section 1007.1, which reads that where 2 exits are required from any portion of the exit access, they shall be placed a distance apart equal to or not less than 1/2 the length of the maximum overall diagonal dimension of the building or area to be served, measured in a straight line between them. The proposed structure provides a single exit when code requires a minimum of 2 separate and distinct exits. Number 6, petitioner is seeking relief from the requirement of the 2020 Building Code of New York State, Section 1019.3, which reads the floor openings containing exit access stairways shall be enclosed with a shaft enclosure. Proposed structure provides an open air monumental stair when code requires that that stairway be enclosed. As mentioned previously, the board has determined that is no longer an issue. Number 7, Section 1019.3, item number 7 of the 2020, that's the reason. Okay, so it's in there. Okay, item number 7 of the Building Code, New York State allows for unenclosed exit access stairways for open air assembly and seating when the exit access travel distance complies with Section 1029.7. Per exhibit number 2, the exit travel distances are compliant with Section 1029.7. Number 8, petitioner requests that the addition of 20-foot wide access roadway, 26-foot wide circular perimeter fire apparatus access lane, a relocated hydrant, and stretcher-size compliant elevator car be considered as alternatives. Number 9, Monroe County Code Enforcement Officer Kyle Radar has provided a code enforcement official variance questionnaire and is in favor of granting the requested relief. Number 10, Monroe County will be providing a gate limiting access to emergency and maintenance service vehicles. Number 11, Monroe County will be not renting out the facility, and its use will be in keeping with the original intent as an observatory. Okay. All right. The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provisions for health, safety, and security. And strict compliance with the code would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would inhibit achievement in some other important public policy. Whereas it is determined that the application for a variance from 19 NYCRR Part 1221, Section 1005.3, 1006.3, 1007.1, and 1019.3 will be granted with the following conditions. That the access road will have a gate and will be kept closed and locked at all times and be marked as fire lane, no parking. Number 2, the occupant load of the second and third floor level will be limited to 226 occupants per level. Okay. Oh, wait, back. Okay, at this time, we'll take a motion to grant this variance petition.
So moved.
Second, John Limbeck.
And now the board will have a vote. Those in favor? To my left,
John Limbeck, aye.
Rick Pappage, aye.
Mark Kavanaugh, nay.
Craig Jensen, aye.
Let the record reflect that the board has approved this variance on a vote of 3-1. So at this time, we'd like to say the decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval to any other plans or specifications presented in support of this application. The hearing is now concluded.